As a Gen Xer, I think my first reaction was kind of like, well, why would you be doing TikToks at your job, right? Like that's kind of the old-fashioned response. But then there's like the other part of me that has debates with the old man in me who says, "Come on, boys, it's 2024. People do TikToks all the time. There's nothing harmful about a TikTok." And that's the part of me that wins. The part of me that says, "Yeah, if that was my daughter, I'd be kind of mad she lost her job for doing a TikTok." Our kids do TikToks all the time, and a TikTok ain't really hurt nobody unless, it's like some Chicago drill rappers doing TikToks about it, which rapper they're going to shoot next. Like that's when TikToks become dangerous. But 99.9% of the time, nobody's ever been hurt by a TikTok, and so I tend to be in that camp. There's no reason. I felt bad for this young lady. It was really sad because she mentioned that she'd given 6 years of her life to Waffle House. She was 22 and she'd worked for them since she was 16. So she's hardworking. A lot, how it is now. A lot of kids don't even want to work. They don't want to do nothing. And she was getting up and going to work every day at Waffle House, even at the age of 16. I admire that. I respect that. How many of y'all, anybody else get a job like when you were a teenager or how old were you when you started working? Put your number in the chat. I started working when I was about, I want to say 11 years old, maybe. And I know at 12 I had a job something delivering newspapers, and that was a pretty cool job. And I would sell newspapers on the corner. I would get on my bike and I would ride like miles for like 5 miles, 4 or 5 miles to get on the corner and just sit there and hold these newspapers and sell newspapers all day. And it was cool. I was the richest kid in the whole eighth grade. That was great. And then when I was 12, I had a job selling candy door to door. And that was really hard at first. Selling's kind of awkward, you're like asking people for money and it's kind of uncomfortable. But I got comfortable real quick. Eventually, I became the best salesperson on the entire in the entire group. This white lady would pick us up and take us to these neighborhoods. It was so dangerous, but it was the 80s. Back then we would it was like a free for all. We were like what they call it, not children of the corn, but the kids where the kids are just kind of running everything. You know what I'm talking about. It's Lord of the Flies. Like it was kind of Lord of the Flies. We'd all just get on our bikes and disappear, and our parents wouldn't see us till 10 hours later. And you'd be drinking out of a water hose and eating bologna sandwiches at somebody's house, watching movies or whatever, right? It was a fun time. It was really fun. Kids actually went outside and played sports and stuff. Not like today. Things have changed. So anyway, at that time, this white lady used to pick us up on the corner and she would go pick all of us up at our houses. And then she would drive us to some neighborhood and she would give us a route and she'd say, okay, Boyce and we'd have a partner, Boyce and Tommy, you're gonna go on this street, and this street. And we would just go from house to house to house and sell candy. And it was this overpriced candy. This lady would pay like 75 cents for a box of candy, and we would sell it for $3. And she kept most of the money. She would give us like 25 cents for every box we sold, and she would keep the rest. So it was a nice little racket for her. I mean, you talk about just exploiting the hell out of some kids and our cuteness. She did that. We had a little script to read. I am a troubled youth from the streets. If you buy this candy, it will keep me out of trouble. Whatever. Like, because everybody thinks, you're a 12-year-old black boy. You're clearly going to be a gangbanger or a thug or something, right? So whatever. I just played the game, man. And let me tell you, this white lady kept my pockets full. Like, I was being pimped, I was being exploited, but I didn't care. Those little 25 cents a box, it eventually added up where I'd go out and I'd make maybe $10. And then on the weekday and on the weekends, I come home with a big wad of money, like maybe $25, which is a hell of a lot of money when you're in the eighth grade. And I would be the number one salesperson. And so she would give the number one salesperson like a $10 bonus or $5 bonus or something. So it was really cool, right? I didn't have any problem with the job. Now, if you want to know how the job ended, it ended because what she was doing was clearly illegal. She was violating child labor laws or something. And but what really happened is there's always a hater in the group. So there was this little girl. I still remember her name, but I'm not gonna say it in case she knows who I am. And she joined the group, and she thought she was gonna make money too. But unfortunately, this little girl didn't have no work ethic. She was spoiled. She's a little punk. Like, I wasn't spoiled. My parents made me work for everything. And she didn't do well. She didn't make any money. So she goes home and cries to her mom, and her mom calls the police and blows up the whole racket for everybody. So basically, we got in the car and it was like a big sting operation. The police like pulled up on the car and arrested this lady, and they took us all to our houses, and I lost my job. I'm still mad about losing that job because I was doing good. I was like, well, you can speak for yourself, but I'm not complaining. I don't feel exploited, ma'am. So anyway, that was my first job. And it was nice. It was nice because it was very empowering to make my own money. I did not care about allowance at that point anymore. You cannot impress me with $10 a week when I was making $100 a week slanging candy. And then in high school, I slang candy. I had so much candy, I was kind of like the neighborhood drug dealer, except instead of slinging crack and heroin, I was slinging Skittles and Snickers. And I would go with my mother to Sam's Club, and we would buy a case of M&Ms or Snickers or whatever for $13.99. I could sell that case for 30 bucks. So and so not only did I make a ton of money doing this, but I had employees. The freshmen would come up and say, "Hey, can I have a candy bar?" I'd say, "Sure, I'll give you a free candy bar if you sell these 10." And they would go sell the 10, bring me the money, and it was a great little operation. And in fact, I remember one day, and there's a reason I'm telling you these ridiculous stories, right? I promise you. So yes, I was selling diabetes. See, why'd you got to just make it bad? Just make it not. But just call me Diddy. Just call me Diddy. I'm lacing people's milkshakes with M and M's and getting them on a sugar high so I can. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so yeah, you're right. I was selling the diabetes, but I was 14. Come on now. So anyway, so I remember one day literally getting to school, and I remember I was super hungry and I didn't have any lunch money, and I was like, man, I'm gonna starve during lunch. But I had a case of M&Ms, and sold all the M&Ms, and I remember that I had so much money when how I tell you all that money's like a drug, and I didn't know this. I just know how good I felt. I wasn't even hungry. They say money affects the same region of your brain as cocaine, actually. And people that smoke crack and stuff, they don't eat or whatever. So literally, I think that the high from the money took away my hunger. At lunchtime, I wasn't even in the cafeteria. I was in the library with not $100, I'm sorry, with like $1 bills like stacked this high. Like I was literally sitting there and I was literally so busy counting my money, I forgot that I was even hungry. That was so, but again, you know how the feds always pop in and they mess up your whole operation. So what the school realized is how much money I was making selling candy. So they made it illegal for the kids to sell candy. And guess what they did? They opened a damn candy store. Just as haters. There's always a hater somewhere that's gonna mess up what you got going on that's good. And they literally opened the candy store right after they shut my operation down. This is the stuff the white man been doing to y'all for hundreds of years. That's why we deserve reparations. But anyway, why am I telling you these ridiculous stories other than openly reminiscing about my ridiculous high school experience? I bring this up because I remember how free and how strong I felt and how capable I felt when I learned to make my own money. Uh, this was my introduction to money. It's like, whoa, wait. If I learned how to sell a product, I'm going to have more economic freedom than if I just go get a job where the people selling the product decide how much I'm going to get paid. So I thought about this a little bit when I thought about this poor young lady who made this TikTok. They got 15 million views and they got her fired from her job at Waffle House. I thought about it and I said, that's not right. That ain't fair. They fired you all because you made a TikTok. That you shouldn't do that to people. But then I thought about how these corporations are. Corporations are bastards. They care nothing about you. They have no loyalty to you. We fall in love with our job, but our job does not love us back. A job is like a politician. They're not wired to really care about you. So you shouldn't care too much about them, to be honest with you. And so when they fired her, I remember thinking, if I was talking to her, I'd probably tell her a couple things. First thing I'd say is, number one, this should not have happened to you. This is very bad, and my heart goes out to you. But then I would also say, but you got to understand that as a black woman, you got to remember that that job does not belong to you. It is their right to do what they want with their job because they created that job, and that's what it is. It's like if you babysit somebody else's kid and you babysit them more than their mother, you don't have the same rights as the mother. Do you understand? The mother can disappear for 6 months, leave you with the baby, have the baby calling you mom or calling you dad, and then show up 6 months later after she spent all that time vacationing and getting high, and come back and say, "Yeah, thank you for what you did for my child, but you are not the the mother. I'm the mother. I have rights that you don't have. So I'm going to take my baby back. Thank you very much. And this is kind of what happens with us as Black people when we're trained culturally to be economic babysitters, right? When you're an economic babysitter, that's not the same as being an economic parent. The babysitter takes care of something that was created by someone else. You are nurturing a child that came out of someone else's womb. So an economic babysitter is managing a business that was created and manifested by another party and another person. So while you certainly deserve accolades for all the work that you put into managing someone else's opportunity or babysitting someone else's business, the reality is that that's still not your job. You do not own that job. They can replace you in any moment, and then they're going to just forget that you were ever there. And so what I would probably say to her then is I'd say, but the good news is that sometimes if you manage an opportunity the right way, you'll find that the thing that you think is your curse is really your biggest blessing. I would probably say to her, I'd say, well, number one, do you know how hard it is to have a video get 15 million views? You put that on your TikTok account, I bet you probably have 50,000, 100,000 subscribers now on that TikTok page. And you know that there are people that can take their TikTok pages and turn that into a business. You just maybe have to get in a space where you're trained to really see the value of that opportunity. Because I personally can say that I know people who would buy your TikTok page probably for $100,000 if you put it on the market because they could make a lot of money from that audience. But then second of all, I would say that sometimes God takes away the thing that we thought was our best opportunity so that we can then have the clarity and the consciousness to see what was the real opportunity, right? Sometimes God will make that abusive boyfriend dump you so you can see the real man who was standing there in the friend zone who's going to really love you the way you deserve to be loved. I can tell you that when I married my beautiful wife who loves me into the ground, I wanted to send thank you notes to that horrific girlfriend I had in college and say, thank you so much for not holding on to me because you really would have blocked my blessing. You would have been the thing standing in the way of what I believe is my true destiny. So not only am I not mad at you, not only do I forgive you for the way you treated me, but I want to say thank you for being just the stupid person that you are and considering me to be an inferior choice for you. That's okay. I'm okay with that because I'm with a woman that's so much better than you are anyway. And it makes me so much happier to be here. I hope I don't sound bitter. I don't want to sound bitter because I'm really happy about it. I truly do. If she's watching, I want to just say thank you very much. God bless you. I'm so happy that you got rid of me because if you hadn't gotten rid of me, I wouldn't have seen the woman that's with me right now, right? So sometimes losing that job is a real blessing. And what that does is that gives you an opportunity to be an economic parent. That gives you the opportunity to do the hard work, right? Being a parent is hard. You got to go into labor and you got to have the baby. First of all, thank you to all the Black women that give birth to us. If it was up to us to give birth to children, there would be no children. Kids would be banned. We would make a law saying you're not allowed to give birth to a child. Like that's how crazy we would be because the pain is unimaginable. And thanks, but so thank you for giving birth to us. Thank you for nurturing us. Thank you for carrying us in your wombs. I appreciate that. I really do. And I can tell you that giving birth to something is hard work. Giving birth to a business is hard work. There's the big bang of coming up with the idea, but then after that, you have to nurture the idea. You got to pour into the idea. You got to build the idea. You got to put blood, sweat, and tears into the idea. You have to invest in the idea. But the beauty of it is that if that baby can survive, right, which unfortunately just like the infant mortality rate is high in the Black community, the business mortality rate is even higher in the Black community. The startup mortality rate is incredibly high because Black businesses have a harder time surviving. They have a harder time getting the nourishment they need. The parents of these businesses may not be well trained as good parents necessarily because we don't have an entrepreneurial culture in our community. That's why we go to white people and say, just please let us be a part of what you got going on because we don't know what to do ourselves. And this is one of the reasons why in the Black business school, our three most core fundamental beliefs are that Black people should educate our own children, create our own jobs, and support Black owned businesses. But that first piece, educating our own children, is critical to the ability to create our own businesses. If you don't educate your kids, then your kids will not be educated in a way that leads them to be able to create anything for the community. Because last time I checked, these public schools ain't teaching Black kids how to go start businesses. They're teaching Black kids how to go get a job at Waffle House. They're not teaching them how to fill out forms to establish an LLC. They're teaching them how to fill out forms to get them in a W-2 situation, right? They're showing them how to go on job interviews. They're not showing them how to go get a client, get a customer, stuff like that. But but that's what the community needs. Why? Well, because there ain't nothing wrong with this young lady doing a TikTok at her job. There's nothing wrong. I know entrepreneurs who do TikToks all day long. There's nothing wrong with doing a TikTok. But if you're working for Waffle House, then you have to follow Waffle House's rules. And this is a type, this is the slavery. This is that gripping feeling that you have on your, on your forehead and your body, and or if you're a man, the grip that you feel on your testicles is the slavery, the economic slavery that Black people are thrust into from the time that we're born. Would no one really talks to us to help us even explore or consider all the possibilities that exist in your life if you learn how to become an economic parent. There's so much power in the ability to manifest and create realities, create opportunities. This poor girl, she's clearly got something to offer the world. She was creative enough to do a TikTok that was seen by 15 million views. There are Tyler Perry movies that don't get 15 million views. Thank God. Because Tyler, you know your movies are you know your movies are kind of silly. Tyler, you know what I'm talking about. We don't need 15 million people watching Madea movies. Come on now. I'm not no diss to Madea. I gotta stop. But seriously, she got 15 million views. She's been with this company for 6 years. That's very impressive to be 22 and to say, I was with the same company for 6 years. That shows me, as a person who employs people, that shows me consistency and maturity beyond your years. I'm impressed by that. You were really loyal to this company. And so what I would end up saying is I would say, well, you do understand that if you play the card right, if you have the right attitude, this is where mental health is so important. This is why we focus on Black financial therapy, because mental health matters, because mental health will shape your attitude. So if you go into this like, woe is me, oh, this sucks, I lost my opportunity, I'm so sad, then what's going to happen is that this pain is just going to be a lot of pain. It's just going to be more trauma. But if you come into it to say, okay, you know what? It's all right. It's time for me to graduate. It's time for me to go to the next. I'm 22. That's a good year to graduate. I'm graduating from being an employee to becoming an entrepreneur. I'm going to go on my TikTok page that now has had gotten 15 million views, and I'm going to get in a class with entrepreneurs, and I'm going to learn how to start me a little business because I really don't want to go back to Waffle House anyway. So my anger and my irritation with Waffle House has now shifted to a type of gratitude, an awkward gratitude, no doubt, because it just, you're right in the middle of it, but a type of gratitude to say, you know what? Thank you for pushing me off the ledge. Now this little birdie's going to learn how to fly on her own. Because if you kept me nice and comfortable in Waffle House, I never would have discovered my truest potential. And I can say this from my own experience. When I was comfortable, I was making a lot of money at Syracuse. I made over $100,000 a year. And I told my wife, I said, I don't know how to say this without sounding like a big coon, but I'm actually kind of happy that white people weren't nice to me. I'm not saying I like racism. I'm not saying that it's a good thing. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying, man, if they had been nice to me the way and treated me the way I deserve to be treated, and really said, gosh, Boyce, we see your talent. We see your potential. We want you to be here at Syracuse University forever. I said, I would have missed out on all the great things that have happened since I left. I would have said, thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity. Thank you, sir, for supporting me. Thank you for standing by me all these years and giving me this opportunity. But what really is interesting is that sometimes you think that you're being blessed when really you're being exploited, you're being used. And then sometimes you're being used and you think you're being blessed, and sometimes you're being blessed and you think you're being harmed, right? So what I'm saying is that if she sees this in the right way, well, she might see this as an abusive experience. This could be a blessing. This could really be a blessing. This could propel her to the next level. I don't know a single person who's ever leveled up who didn't have to go through some type of disappointment in order to level up. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like I don't know of a single superhero in any superhero story that didn't have something terrible happen to them that made them into a superhero. Do you understand? Like so what I want you to really kind of process, this is our consciousness lesson, and this is something that you can actually integrate into your line of thinking is when you get put through a trial or a tough situation, there's really a blessing in there somewhere. There's definitely a lesson there. We know there's a lesson, and then there's a blessing, right? And really consciousness is where I say, okay, you know what, I'm feeling this. This sucks, man. This is really bad. but let me swim through this and see if I can find the blessing and find the lesson. It's always in there. I've never had a curse or a bad situation happen where there wasn't a blessing and a lesson in there. And if you take that blessing like a vitamin, you take that lesson like a vitamin, then you come out and you emerge stronger. Like I went to the gym this morning, all those weights were heavy. All that resistance was right there. It was very, very real. But I approached the resistance in a particular way. And guess what? When I come out of that gym, I end up feeling much stronger than I was when I didn't go into the gym. So find the blessing and find the lesson. And that's really important, I think, in terms of helping to shape your mindset into that of a business owner or a wealth builder or an entrepreneur or whatever it is you're trying to create in your family, whatever culture you're trying to create. Entrepreneurs tend to, the good ones anyway, tend to be optimists for the most part. They tend to look forward and up. They don't look down. They don't look back. So she should not be looking back at Waffle House. Waffle House was a stage in her life. Maybe long term she'll even think of it as a mistake. Who knows? But Waffle House is done. Waffle House is the old ex-girlfriend who didn't really love you that much anyway. And there is something bigger and better and more amazing in front of her. And I just want you to understand that in terms of how you process your own economic outcomes. Okay, that job does not belong to you. You do not own that job, but you can own some stock. You can own some real estate. You can go own a business. There are things you can own that you can pass to your children that have a more permanent, lasting legacy. A job, really, to some extent, is kind of like this temporary mechanism that's designed to give us the ability to survive in a pretty dysfunctional economy. It's a dysfunctional economy because workers don't get paid what they deserve. The price of everything is going up. People are drowning in all kinds of debt, student loan debt, car loan debt, mortgage loan debt, credit card debt, all at an all-time high. So the job is not the pathway to wealth in this country at all. But the pathway of wealth is that little side street that most of us don't follow. It's the one that's outside of the systems, outside of the public schools, outside of even the universities. And you got to go find that little path and walk down it. So maybe that's one way I can try to help you, is to show you where that path lies. Because again, one benefit of being a data scientist in the field of finance is that all we do is look at research and study where the money's at, who has the most money, why, how they got the most money, how millionaires think versus other people. My whole dissertation was on nothing but financial psychology. How does money affect your thinking? How should you think if you want to acquire money? Like all these things, right? So mindset is everything. And it's a blessing for me that I married a therapist because she's into the psychology thing. And that's what we doing. That's what we're doing right now. So let's go get it done. Let's be great. Let's be amazing. I'm not going to keep you guys for too long because unfortunately I have a meeting coming up, and sometimes we go for an hour, but honestly, the goal is usually actually 30 minutes. So I'm going to actually keep my commitment on that because I actually have to. And also, I want to remind everybody, if you want to get notified when this class starts, just text the word morning to the number 87948. Text morning to 87948. This week, Thursday night at 8 o'clock, I'm going to do a special event called Retire Rich and Early. And this is going to help you to understand and to avoid and to overcome the retirement crisis that's coming in America. All of you will understand how to be prepared and understand how retirement planning can be done and how it can fit into your Black agenda, whatever that happens to be. That's going to be Thursday night. I'm going to send you guys a text for a link to sign up. It won't be free, but I'll give you a big discount because you're in this class. So make sure you get on the text list. Text the word morning to the number 87948. And if you live out of the country, you can email the support team. They can give you the discount. Email support@theblackbusinessschool.com, and I'll try to bring the link tomorrow so you guys will have access to that. Oh, and also don't forget that tonight at about 8, I think Dr. Alicia is going to do Mental Health Mondays, where she's bringing in therapists that are going to help address Black mental health issues. She's going to do that every Monday. And so if you want to get an invitation to that, you can pull out your phone. Also text the word love to the number 87948. So that's her space where she'll send you stuff and information to help you with mental health issues, because Lord knows all of us need help with that. I need help with mental health because it's not a matter of addressing a deficiency. I don't think you should think about mental health like, oh, I'm crazy, I need to fix it, or I'm depressed, I need to fix it, or something's wrong with me, I need to fix it. No, I would see it as as an optimization thing, right? If you're optimizing your mental health, then you can really conquer things. You can accomplish things. You can overcome stress. You can overcome complexities and challenges. You can overcome obstacles that may make you want to quit. So managing mental health isn't just for the deficient. Managing mental health is for people that want to be excellent. I don't know a single excellent, outstanding, high achieving person who does not focus heavily on keeping their mental health on 10, right? So do not think of it as addressing a deficiency. Do not think of it as something for people that are broken, crazy, stupid, and ridiculous. Think of it as something for people that really want to embrace and pursue Black excellence at every level in every day of their lives and want to make that Black excellence contagious to all the people around them. If that is who you are, then I encourage you. I beg you, I implore you, I am asking you with everything I've got, focus on your mental health, make yourself mentally strong, and then guess what? At that point, white men, can't no white man scare you. Can't crazy Black people won't scare you. Nothing will scare you. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm not scared of nothing and nobody, and nothing slows me down. I show up like this every day. Why? Well, because I spend time every morning making sure that the right version of Boyce Watkins shows up for everything I do. Because we got one chance at this thing called life, and we're not gonna do it wrong. Make sense? Give me a yes if that makes sense. So the number is 87948. So you can text the word love to the number 87948. And I'm out of here, guys. And she'll notify you when she does Mental Health Mondays. Have a good day, everybody. God bless.